Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to share something a little different, something that's been on my mind for a while now. If you look at the calendar on your wall and feel a pit of heavy dread in your stomach because you think you should be further ahead by now, I need you to stop and take a deep breath. My name is Samuel. I am 85 years old, and I am living proof that the timeline you are judging yourself against is a complete fiction, a lie we tell ourselves that does nothing but steal our joy. I didn't truly start living until I was in my 50s, an age when the world told me I should be thinking about winding down, and if I had listened to the world, I would have missed the best 3 decades of my life. I want to take you back to when I was 30 years old, because that was the year I was convinced that my life was over. I was living in a studio apartment that smelled like damp plaster and old cooking oil, sleeping on a mattress on the floor because I couldn't afford a bed frame. I had just been laid off from a job I hated. My engagement had fallen apart, and I had exactly $42 in my savings account. I remember standing in the grocery store, debating whether I could afford the good brand of peanut butter or if I had to buy the generic one, and feeling a wave of shame so hot it made my face burn. I looked around at other men my age, men who seemed to have it all figured out. They were buying houses. They were wearing suits that fit. They were pushing strollers and laughing with their wives, and I felt like a defect. I felt like I had missed the starter pistol, and everyone else was halfway around the track while I was still trying to tie my shoes. The pressure of keeping up is a silent killer. It whispers to you in the middle of the night. It tells you that if you haven't made your first million by 30, you're a failure. It tells you that if you aren't married by 35, you're damaged goods. It tells you that life is a straight line, a ladder that you have to climb one rung at a time, and if you slip, you fall into the abyss. I believed that lie for 20 years. I spent my 30s and 40s scrambling, taking jobs just for the paycheck, dating women I didn't love just to say I wasn't alone, desperate to prove to my parents and my high school friends that I was successful. But inside, I was hollow. I was acting out a play that I didn't write, and I was a terrible actor. I hit rock bottom at 48. I was divorced a marriage that shouldn't have happened in the first place, and I was working in a warehouse, moving boxes for a logistics company. My back hurt, my heart hurt, and I felt completely invisible. I remember sitting in my car on my lunch break, eating a sandwich, and thinking, this is it. This is the sum total of my existence. I am a cautionary tale, but that rock bottom was actually a foundation. Because when you have lost the race, when you have fallen so far behind that you can't even see the other runners anymore, a strange thing happens. You stop running. You realize that the race was imaginary. You realize that nobody is keeping score but you. At 50 years old, I decided to do something that terrified me. I had always loved woodworking. I loved the smell of sawdust, the feel of the grain, the patience it took to turn a rough block into something beautiful. I had abandoned it in my 20s because everyone told me there was no money in it, that it was a hobby, not a career. But at 50, with nothing left to lose, I started apprenticing with an old cabinet maker. I was the oldest apprentice he had ever had. I was sweeping floors and sanding edges alongside 19-year-olds. It was humbling, yes, but for the first time in decades, I wasn't looking at the clock. I wasn't wondering when the day would end. I was lost in the work. It took me 5 years to become decent, and another 5 to become good. I opened my own small shop at 60. Think about that. I started my career at an age when most people are planning their retirement party. And you know what? I was better for it. If I had started at 20, I would have been arrogant. I would have rushed. I would have tried to scale the business too fast and burned out. At 60, I had patience. I had the wisdom to know that quality takes time. I built that business slowly, piece by piece, and it became the great joy of my life. I didn't make millions, but I made enough, and more importantly, I made something that was mine. And then there was love. I met Eleanor when I was 62. She was a librarian, a woman with a laugh that could crack a window and a heart bigger than the ocean. If I had met Eleanor when I was 30, I would have ruined it. I was too insecure back then, too focused on myself, too needy. At 62, I knew who I was. I didn't need her to complete me. I was already complete. I just wanted her to walk beside me. We had 22 years together before she passed, and those 22 years were richer and deeper than 50 years of a mediocre love. We didn't waste time on petty arguments because we knew how precious time was. We traveled, we danced in the kitchen. We sat in silence holding hands. I found the love of my life in the fourth quarter of the game, and it was right on time. I see you. I see you sitting there at 25, panicking because you don't know what your passion is yet. I see you at 35, crying in the bathroom because all your friends are posting baby photos and you are still single. I see you at 45, feeling like you've wasted your potential in a career you hate. And I want to grab you by the shoulders and tell you, you are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to learn the lessons that will carry you through the next chapter. Life is not a train schedule. There is no departure time that you missed. Life is a garden. Some flowers bloom in early spring, fragile and bright. Others bloom in late summer, heavy and bold. And some, like the chrysanthemum, don't bloom until the autumn, when the air is crisp and the days are getting shorter. If you try to force a chrysanthemum to bloom in April, you will kill it. You have to wait for your season. You have no idea who you are going to be in 5 years. You have no idea what doors are going to open, what people you are going to meet, or what latent talents are going to bubble up to the surface. Colonel Sanders didn't franchise KFC until he was 62. Vera Wang didn't enter the fashion industry until she was 40. The world is full of late bloomers who are just as beautiful as the early ones. The only way you can truly fail is if you quit. If you decide that, because you didn't win the first half, you shouldn't play the second half. I am 85 years old. My joints ache, and I move a lot slower than I used to. But I am happy. I look back at that 30-year-old man on the mattress, paralyzed by fear and comparison, and I want to hug him. I want to tell him, relax, kid. The story is just getting started. Don't let the calendar bully you. Don't let society's arbitrary milestones make you feel small. Your journey is your own. It is winding, it is strange, and it is perfectly timed for you. Keep walking. Keep working. Keep your heart open. Your best days might not be in your past. They might be waiting for you in a decade you haven't even reached yet.